Hey guys, welcome back to Layout. Thought I'd give you guys a little bit of an update. It's Memorial Day weekend 2025, and I'm sitting here in the layout room and thought I'd show you what's been going on this spring, going into summer, and actually the winter too. Got a lot of updates on the layout. Kind of start here. This is North Waco. Haven't done a lot through this section. We've been messing with some of the track work and the signaling, make sure it's all lined up. And back here is the helix. And we've been working on the track work back in there a little bit, getting it a little smoother. Soon you're gonna have a fascia over the helix. You won't be able to see it anymore. We've been working a lot on just kind of comfort and also organization in the layout and making it a little bit nicer and neater. I'm actually going to show you underneath the layout while this train runs. One of the newest things we've done, a lot of you might know that this is in a one-car garage, so that's the garage door there, but we put a paint booth in. So you look underneath there, that will vent out. I'll crack the garage door and put the vent out, and there's my new paint booth. So we built this workbench and put the paint booth in, and new compressor, my trusty old cheap Badger airbrush, and I've got a little work area there next to it too if I need to work on a painted car or something, and we have a vise over there as well. And then you see these cabinets here. I'm going to show you those in a minute, but there's one of them right there. And over here I've painted all the legs now. Everything is nice, matches, nice and neat, blends with the carpet. This is the gray that I use throughout the layout room on the fascia and on the walls. And now it's on the legs. And then we ended up painting the workbench area. This is the dispatch computer that I just moved in here. Yes, I'm an Apple guy, and we bought a new Apple computer for the family, so I got to inherit this one for the layout room. It's a 27-inch iMac. So it's going to be a nice big screen for our dispatch panel that I will have up hopefully in the next couple months. We're going to use it through JMRI, and we're going to have block detection showing us where the trains are on the layout. The Katy was not really a CTC railroad. They had portions that were CTC, but it's mostly ABS. So we won't really be controlling things necessarily from the computer, but just more about letting the dispatcher see where the trains are currently. And if we want to run through trains, we'll be able to do that wirelessly through the computer. So that's pretty exciting. We're also going to have a fast clock under here. I know you can do fast clocks through JMRI, but I actually want a LCC fast clock. I have those ordered, and actually I have them already. And having some boxes made for those. The LCC fast clocks are done by Logitech Rail, by my friend Chuck Stansel, who I highly recommend his products. They are fantastic products. So this is the dispatch area. And on the opposite side, I also have the printer underneath there. There's a printer down there. So we print our JMRI switch list from down there. Then on the other side, this is our program track and also our loc programmer track. So I have a loc programmer track, and then I have a regular programming track that I use a Sprague 3 with over there on the end. And then here is my workbench. Nice and neat now. We added a pegboard and put a lot of my tools in this area, and this is where I'll be able to tweak cars, do decoder installs, fix things that aren't working correctly, etc., etc. So this is pretty exciting here. So we really did a lot with this area, added a lot of lights under the layout. So it's really about maximizing space on the layout. Again, painted everything. And if you're under about 6'4", you can fit underneath the layout pretty well. For the taller guys, it becomes a little bit of a struggle. So this is kind of the newest thing and the biggest thing that we've been working on recently. Now, for the piece de la resistance, the thing that took multiple months are these cabinets. And these cabinets are made out of plywood. My friend Bob got a cut chart together and we figured we would need, I can't remember how many sheets of plywood, but it was a lot. We spent quite a lot of money, but I will have these for the rest of my life, and they fit so nicely under the layout. Gives a nice clean layout look, and all of my cars, all of my locomotives are now stored neatly under the layout. So I'll open this. This is actually a locomotive cabinet, and don't be too shocked. I've posted this before, but these are all my Jeep 39-2s that are not on the layout right now. So, and they just close and open. There's little notches. I'll show you another one over here. These are, this is an empty one, so this is spare when I have more cars to come. But we put these little notches in here, and the cars just sit between the wood there. And so you can open and close the drawers nice and neatly. So we ended up thinking we'd only need, I believe, I think it was 7? No, it was 5. We did 5 initially, and then we found we needed a little bit more. So we ended up doing a total of 7. And it took many, many months of lots of work. So there they are. That's grain hoppers there. So I was able to do this, and I know everybody has lots of cars, right? But I was able to do this really for a decent amount of money. I want to say it was probably under $1,000 all in, which may seem like a lot, but plywood has gotten very expensive. And so to do this right, you know, it would have been much more expensive to use furniture grade lumber. But with a good quality plywood, the handles we got off Amazon, the tracks for the inside were from Amazon. It really wasn't too bad, and they roll nicely. The cars wiggle a little bit when you open and close, but really you're not going to have any problems if you open them slowly, and you're only opening them, you know, once a month maybe at the most. So this has given a really nice clean look to the layout and has really minimized storage issues and just clutter in the layout room. So one of my goals for 2025 was to make the room really pleasant and really a fun place, not only to switch in or to work in, but also just to relax in, to feel comfortable. Because remember, this was a garage, so concrete floors, not really insulated walls, and so we really wanted something that would be comfortable. So on the lower level, I've been working pretty hard on the lower level. So if you remember on one of my old videos, this was all concrete from over here by the road where that Porsche is, 911 there. This was all quote-unquote concrete all along here. And it was still the steel distributor, the iron distributor, Davis Iron Works. But I decided I wanted something a little bit more rural and a little bit more authentic to what the industry actually was. So I ended up ripping out the masonite that was there, that was painted concrete. And I decided I wanted a gap between the road and the dealer. So I put in all of this ground cover. And these are beautiful trees, and they really accurately represent Texas trees. Those kind of cedar trees that are you know, grow all the way up. They look like large bushes basically. So I did 3 of those there, and a lot of this stuff is like the Martin Wahlberg scenery products. These trees, I modified them a little bit, and then over here I did a step-by-step on the layout page about this on Facebook, about how I made the gravel, just several different products. And then I found these really cool forklifts by Architect, which is a European model company, and I thought they fit really well in the layout. We've got some flatbed trailers here on the layout as well. And I made some stacks of steel piles, rebar, just anything that looked like it would fit in the area. And then I got this crane from Architect as well. It was actually a U.S. Army crane that I patched out to make it look like the iron distributor, steel distributor had bought it secondhand and uses it to unload large, heavy loads of steel. So that's kind of where we're at there. I've thought about getting a gantry crane or something, building one maybe for the area, make it a little bit more industrial. So this was redone this spring, and then over here I added more trees. This was just an empty field basically. Added more weeds, dirt, made it look a little bit like it's just a plot of land that is kind of maintained but not really. And then over here, this is Troy Farm Center. I did the same thing here. This was concrete. And what I did was I cut out all of the area and put gravel in, and then I left a small area of concrete in front of the two buildings, the parking lot, basically, if you will, where they save money that way. And this is a Case IH dealer, Troy Farm Center. I don't know that it was in real life, but I decided to make a Case IH dealer because there were actually tractors available that were 1987 models. So I went with that. That's what those are there. And we've got combines and cotton pickers, I guess is what you call it. I'm not a farm person, but and then this is a Lone Star trailer, which is really awesome that I was able to find that with the tractor tires on the back. So this scene is my next scene I'm working on right now. So I've got these two buildings are ready to go. They're lit. The only thing left is to weather them, which I think I've told you all on my previous updates that I'm trying to get the layout flat out, everything finished to about 80%. And then I consider weathering the last 20%, weathering and detail work and refinement is the last 20%. So this scene is still not to 80%. I've got fertilizer tanks to build, a tractor ramp to build, and then finish this building, this bulk load out facility here too. So I really got to get working on this. This is going to be the goal in June, to get this scene built, lit, and I'm going to put a grassy knoll right here, a little grassy berm with the Case IH sign in front of the dealer. And then this scene will be kind of done, finished back in here too. And then behind Troy, this kind of is the yard lead for what I call Smithville Staging. This is not a finished area yet, as you can see. But this is my Smithville Staging. There's no backdrop in yet. Layout's not done. But this is the southernmost point of the layout. And I am going to put a backdrop in here, even though it is staging, because it is visible staging. So I want it to feel like you're still immersed in a yard, even though the time warp goes from Troy to Smithville, which is a big gap. And, you're skipping Temple and Transfer Junction and Granger and everything else. So, but, compression, selective compression. So this is really just a staging yard. It's a big staging yard, and I've thought about shortening it, maybe adding some industries on the back end of the yard and switch. But for now, this is where it is. So that's kind of the deal with the lower level. My thunderstorm, my backdrops down here have continued to bubble. So I have a really great guy, railroadbackdrops.com, and he's been very nice to replace backdrops that have bubbled on me. So I'm actually going to tear these two out and replace them with the same exact backdrop. This one down here, you can see the seam where it's pulling up, and then there's some bubbles here. We're going to replace this one as well until it starts to curve here. And I have to be really careful because if you look down in here, let's see if I can zoom in, I've got barbed wire fence. So I'm going to have to be really careful that I don't rip out the barbed wire fence or the ground cover when we pull those out. But we are going to pull those out. That's probably going to happen in the next few weeks. So those will be redone. They will look exactly the same minus the bubbles, which backdrops are really, really hard to really do well. I think it's one of the hardest things to do scenery-wise. So that's kind of the major things we've been working on. I know it's not much much to see, but painting of the legs, putting the cabinets in. We finished, I'm not sure if I had talked about this last time, we had finished this rotary switch to change what track you're on in the yard. Those are power cutoffs. If you've got engines sitting in the yard, you can turn those off and on, and they just light up if they're on or off. On the top deck, I added another proto throttle. I'm up to, I think, 6 or 7 proto throttles that I have in stock, that I use in rotation. So I've got 2 that are stored up here, and then I think 4 or 5 on the other side of the layout. On the top level, not a lot has changed. We've just been doing, maintenance as needed. The layout has been running really well. We've been having a lot of op sessions. Maybe you've seen those on my updates. We hosted the Katy Railroad Historical Society here in Dallas recently. We had some visitors for that. And really, we're just kind of plugging along and getting more done. This is the Brazos River here, for those of you that haven't seen the layout. I've got photoshopped the Cotton Belt Bridge there, and if you look real closely, you can see the suspension bridge over the Brazos. That's downtown Waco there. And, you come around the layout. One of the cool things I don't know that I've talked about in the past is when we do operations, I like to make things a little bit more prototypical. So I make people like fusees. So I have this button here. It's a red button. We have it on two spaces, places on the layout. This is another Logic Railtech product, and I will have operators flip this switch on, and it lights these fusees on the layout to tell crews that, hey, we're working the main, don't approach. So, you turn those on, and it'll turn them off, and after about 30 seconds to a minute, they'll flicker off. So those are just another kind of fun thing we use for operations on the layout. And at some point they'll flicker out here. Let's see if we can get them to flicker out. Wait a second here and see. I flipped it off a while ago. It's taking a while. But yes, they do go on and off, and eventually it will flicker off. It's taken a while to do it. But I have the crews turn those on when they're there. It's going, there it went out. There you go. So down here, not a whole lot has changed. We've really got the signals working. You can see this one's yellow right now. I've got blinking yellows now on the layout. So the signals are all working as they should. That took a long time, but everything is working accurately now. When the proto throttle turns off, the engine stops. So it's went to sleep, so the engine is turned off. So it'll start up again. I can show you that one's yellow right now. There should be a blinking yellow somewhere else, but there's our train. Down here in this corner, not a lot has happened recently. I've gotten some new vehicles, super cool vehicles by my friend Bob Johnson at Master Built Models. He's hooked me up with some great new vehicles. There's I think a Monte Carlo, just a lot of cool stuff. So trying to get more and more vehicles in that 80s, 70s, 80s era, which is really great to see. So pretty excited about that for sure. And it's just a lot of good stuff in the hobby right now. But yeah, we're having a great time here on the layout. It's been a good spring. And looking forward to the summer. Work slows down for me in the summer, so I should have more time to come out into the train room and get stuff done. We're coming into that time period of the year where I get a lot more done, and I do take some vacations in the summer, but we get a lot of time in the layout room. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be sure and make another one a little bit quicker. I know people want to see this and kind of see the progress that's being done on the layout, and I want to be able to do that for you all. But until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Katie.